This is the story of a girl and her protein intake, which is probably the question I am asked so frequently by so many people, is how I can get more protein into my diet. Well, I have a great breakfast recipe for you. It's a high protein Mexican bean brekky bowl with rice, quinoa, cottage cheese to get that extra protein in, and lots of other delicious ingredients. We're going to kick off by getting our shallot or a little bit of brown onion into a pan. I've got some chopped coriander stalks because I never want to waste the stalks. Why? There's nutrition in there. You can always enjoy the flavour. And some chopped capsicum too. Cook them off so they're a little bit soft and the onion becomes a little bit translucent. Whilst that cooks, let's chop up one tomato, just dice it. And the beauty of a recipe like this is you can make it in advance, so you could make this bean mix in advance, have a few serves, and you could just pop it into a bowl each day as you wish. But also, there's a different combination of proteins than what you might typically think of in breakfast. This introduces protein from the beans, there's proteins in the cottage cheese, and the combination of the basmati rice and the quinoa delivers a protein source to your brekky bowl too. All right, let's get our tomato in. And one of my favourite things that I love to teach people about introducing different ingredients and combining foods is that there are some really complementary ingredients. So beans are a great source of protein, but they're also a great source of plant-based iron. And tomatoes are a great source of vitamin C. And when you combine them, that helps the iron absorption in your body. So the combo of tomatoes and the beans is a great way to bump up your iron. We've got some corn to sweeten the deal and give it that Mexican flair. And then we'll add in our Mexican spice blend. So it's just a ready-made Mexican spice blend, easy to keep on hand in your spice cabinet. A little or as much as you wish, plus some salt and pepper. We're going to cook these ingredients off for a little bit whilst we get our rice into the microwave. These are really handy little pouches to have on hand in the pantry. I know most people think of toast when it comes to brekky, but I really love these as a nice alternative to toast. It makes the bowl gluten-free. It's a nice way to incorporate different grains into your breakfast too. This is a basmati and quinoa blend, so the combination actually bumps up the protein content slightly, which is what we're after in a high-protein brekky bowl. So I'm going to pop this into the microwave for 2 minutes and then all the ingredients will be ready to get into our brekky bowl. It's almost ready. I'm going to get the cottage cheese into the base of the bowl first. Now, if we were going for the Tex-Mex vibe, you'd have sour cream, but I'm going for the high protein vibe, so we're going with cottage cheese instead. And it does add that lovely creaminess with the added bonus of the protein. Our basmati and quinoa combo goes in. This really is one of my favourite combinations. I love the nuttiness of the basmati rice. All right, let's bring our beans over. You can tell this bowl's going to be good. There's lots of different, really flavoursome ingredients in here. Plenty of fibre, which I love. That really sets your tummy up well for the day. You feel satisfied by your meal. Some pickled cabbage. I love this. I love the colour. I love the fact that we can use up some cabbage with some apple cider vinegar and water to make a quick pickle. And actually, a lot of people find that if they can't digest cabbage or red onion particularly well, then pickling it helps that digestion process. So I really encourage you to give it a crack. Let's get our egg onto the top. A soft-boiled egg is my preference. Some avocado for those healthy fats. No time for guac. I think we've put enough effort into our brekky or brunch bowl here with all of the other ingredients. Then we'll get a little bit of that chili Tabasco over the eggs, over the avocado, and wherever else you want to do it. Salt and pepper. And some coriander to finish. Brings the flavours together. And look, I'd say that's a pretty spectacular looking breakfast or brunch, any time of the day really, but a high protein brekky bowl, lots of beautiful ingredients, absolutely delicious too. Mike, you didn't believe me when I said this is a recipe you can't really stuff up and that it's a set and forget. So let me show you how that happens.
All right, prove to me.
Okay.
Show me.
Our oven's on at 160, heating up, because we need 6 hours for this. I'd love for you to season the brisket with some salt, pepper, and then we've got a pretty generous amount of Cajun spice here, and that's just an easy way to get all the spices you need all into the one place. Don't need to mix up your own. And then you can just get it into the oven.
It's a nice quick way of getting lots of flavour in, right?
So true. And you like Cajun spice. We've
Love
had Cajun chicken
love
before
Cajun.
Together. There's lots of lovely ways you can use it. And I like to make sure that my brisket's not going to fall off the onions, so I just trim the bottom so it's nice and flat, and then we have a nice flat middle side as well, so that way when we've got the brisket on there, it just sits evenly in the tray. It's looking good. It's a pretty decent sized piece of brisket, isn't it?
It's a mic size. I like it. I like it.
All right, onions go in, and then we'll get the brisket onto the top of the onions.
Just straight in like that. You're not sealing it.
Nah.
Nothing.
No, I know. I'm a very different cook to you because I'm a cook and not a chef. So I like to keep things simple but really flavoursome and think about how we can incorporate the health and nutrition components. This brisket would never be served without a good salad, so we're going to do that as well.
It's definitely the first time I've seen a brisket and kale on the same table.
All right, we are going to wrap the brisket in a double layer of Glad foil. That's really important because you want that nice seal and a heavy seal. So a single layer doesn't quite cut it. You need the double layer. Then you get it into the oven and you'll be cooking it for 6 hours. Now, I'd never not check on my brisket throughout the 6 hours. I don't want it to dry out in any way. But if you do see that the water is really starting to evaporate, just top it up with a little bit, pop it back in and make sure that there's still that steam effect circling around the meat because that's what makes it so juicy and delicious.
And pull apart and tender.
Yeah, you know it. Mike, I'm going to make a beautiful smoky tomato sauce to go with the beef brisket. And because, you know, you said you'd never seen cabbage or kale presented with a brisket, I'm going to get you on to making the kale, apple and radish salad. Because you know what? There's a first time for everything.
I feel like I trod on some toes with that comment.
Not at all, not at all. But we want this to be a wholesome family meal. So we've got to get our veggies in there, especially when we're serving up meat. Just going to chop up half a red onion, so that we have a nice base for our sauce. You don't need to get too fine on the chop of the red onion because we're actually going to blitz it all together to make the sauce later and get it in the saucepan with the extra virgin olive oil.
For me, I think brisket, I think smoke. I love how you're introducing that smoky element through the sauce.
Yeah.
Like, it's really clever.
And the Cajun spice as well. Gives it enough of that chili spice in there.
Absolutely.
So this needs to saute for about 5 to 6 minutes until the onion becomes translucent. So the onions have softened up. We're going to add in the smoky paprika, which will deliver that beautiful smokiness into the tomato sauce. Then we'll add in the diced tomatoes. These are an Aussie tomato. You can see how rich and thick this one is in particular because it's a combination of the tomatoes with a tomato paste, which I love because that then provides a nice thick sauce, which is what we're after.
Yeah, it's beautiful deep red colour, hey?
It is. And this is a lovely sauce too, that if you made up a double batch, for instance, you can actually keep the smoky tomato sauce in the fridge and have it where you might otherwise have a standard barbecue sauce, but it's homemade, so it's just that little bit nicer.
It's a really nice cheat.
And then about a tablespoon of maple syrup. And if you like a little kick of heat in there, then a pinch of chili flakes is the way to do it. And then it just simmers for 30 to 40 minutes. Get our salad together, and then really it's just a waiting game for the brisket.
Can't wait to taste.
how this has turned out. It's time to get it on the plate so we can all tuck in. Now, Mike, I love the salad you've made.
We've swapped. I made the salad. She's done the meat.
That's what it's all about, though. We get to learn from each other here, don't we? So we'll get our meat in there. Do you want to start picking some parsley? Because we're going to garnish the meat with the parsley as well as the smoky tomato sauce. And we absolutely cannot leave these juicy onions in the tray. They definitely want to be a feature within the serving dish. We'll get a little bit more salt and pepper on there before we serve as well. And I think a little bit more of extra virgin olive oil and lemon juice on that salad would be perfect. Now, the rich tomato smoky sauce is going to go over the top, or you could serve it on the side, totally up to you. But I like it on the top. That creates some nice contrasting colours on your serving dish. But this is so great because in 6 hours, whilst this is cooking in the oven, you can achieve so much.
Yeah, you have your day.
That's it. There's not the need to check it. You don't really even need to rest it in my world. I prefer the rest where you lie down and shut your eyes. Then some parsley over the top. And then the moment of truth, as we know with a slow cook, is its pullability.
Yeah.
Is there a technical term for that? Because I'm not sure if there is. All right. Let's see how we go then. This is my favourite bit actually, because also you don't have to think about how you're carving it. The meat's just pulling away beautifully. Look at that. That's cooked to perfection. I'm pretty happy with the result here. You know what you've got to do here, right?
Get a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything's really important. So straight in for some onion.
Yeah.
Then in with the beef. Look at that. And the smoky tomato sauce, obviously a must.
It's a bit big.
Oh. From you?
That's a pretty damn good brisket.
Yeah.
Considering you literally shoved it in the oven.
That's about it.
So much flavour.
Yeah.
That sauce is spot on. Oh, those onions.
But really, it's just about a few key ingredients here. You don't need to overdo it. There's so much flavour that you just get from good quality tomatoes in the sauce.
Yeah.
From the good spice factor going onto the meat. Juicy onions and just some patience whilst it cooks, which I think everyone could just enjoy a little bit more slow time, waiting for a beautiful meal like this to cook. And then the result is pretty epic.
I agree with you, Jacq. You will not be able to mess this up. You have to try this. It is divine.
Should we go back in?
Yeah, please.
Crispy garlic and Parmesan potatoes with pesto are probably a little bit more indulgent for a good chef, but you know what? They're worth it. And they're really easy to make. You want to first kick things off by smashing some garlic and then get your tray, crank up your oven to 200 and slice your potatoes about 1 centimetre thick. Get those onto the tray. And then give them a good glug of extra virgin olive oil. Around about 3 tablespoons. It's such a beautiful oil to cook with and it withstands heat really well. So it's actually great to bake with at high heat. We'll add some salt and pepper to our potatoes because it would be rude not to. But hold off putting the Parmesan on the potatoes. You want to save that till the end. Get your garlic cloves, the smashed garlic cloves in so they get a little bit of the extra virgin olive oil coating them with the potatoes. Okay, then you'll spread your potatoes out evenly over your baking tray because the more opportunity they have to be exposed to the heat, the crispier they become. And then get these in a 200-degree oven for 40 minutes. All right, potatoes in the oven, let's get on to our pesto. Using an extra virgin olive oil, get that in first so that it's hitting the blade and helping all of the other ingredients move around your food processor or stick blender. And a good quality extra virgin olive oil is important here because you want that beautiful bitterness and robust flavour. So into the base, then 2 cups of basil. I love fresh basil and I often find I buy a bunch and if I only use a little bit, it starts to wilt. So it's a perfect excuse to get basil into a pesto and keep it in the fridge, pop it in the freezer, or give it to your family and friends or neighbours if you like. So that's roughly 2 cups we have there. Get those into your food processor. And I'm giving my pesto a little bit of a twist today. So we still have the traditional Parmesan in with our basil, but I'm using ricotta. So 1/3 of a cup of ricotta. Of course, garlic. Wouldn't be a good pesto without a good hit of garlic. And cashews. I love cashews in a pesto. Traditionally, they use pine nuts. Cashews are my favourite. And finally, some lemon, salt and pepper. So about a tablespoon of lemon juice is all you need here. Salt and pepper. And you can tell because we have the ricotta in this pesto, it's going to be lovely and creamy. Then blitz it up. Pretty excited by these. Look how good they look. Crispy Parmesan potatoes. We'll get these onto the serving platter. I mean, this is a pretty cool way to mix up your Sunday roast, I would say. Get people excited. So tempting not to just gobble into one of these as I'm putting them down, but they're a bit hot still. And then scoop up the roasted garlic that was in with the potatoes and dot it around the serving platter onto the potatoes. So a nice little hit of garlic. Our final few flourishes, of course, our beautiful ricotta pesto to go around the potatoes like so. This is so flavoursome, this pesto. I really think you'll absolutely adore it. And there'll be a little bit left over. So all you gotta do with that leftover is whip up a pasta, pop some chicken, shredded chicken in it the following night, and you have an epic meal on your hands. And then use the little baby basil at the top of your stalks to garnish. Good grind of black pepper. And that, I think, is a pretty great way to enjoy potatoes. My crispy garlic Parmesan potatoes with a delicious ricotta pesto. Buon appetito. A few years ago, I made a really delicious Middle Eastern grain salad, and I wanted to show you how it came together because it honestly was a showstopper on the table. It was at Christmas, but you could make this at any time of year. So this is a basmati and wild rice blend, and we're going to get it into the microwave first to cook it so that it has time to cool while we're prepping our other ingredients. The dressing is really special and is what really brings together those Middle Eastern flavours too. So we have a Greek yoghurt, which you'll need about 2/3 of a cup. This is a deliciously creamy Greek yoghurt. Has that natural tartness to it. Then we'll want the zest and juice of 1 lemon. The lemon zest really adds that citrus zing to the salad. Beauty. Not forgetting the juice. One of the best implements in the kitchen is this one. Just pop your lemon or your lime in and so easy. And this dressing can be made in advance, so if you are doing it for a special occasion like Christmas or an occasion where you have friends coming over, you can make it a day in advance. Then we've got some honey, a tiny bit of sweetness to break through the citrus and the tartness of the yoghurt. And it will complement really well with the pomegranate that's coming in later too. and cumin seeds. So if you don't have cumin seeds on hand, you could use a ground cumin, that's fine, but the seeds are just something a little bit extra for this recipe. A little bit of salt and pepper to season the dressing. And by the time you've finished whisking the dressing together, the rice should have cooled down enough. Let's whisk it up. And give it a taste too once it's whisked together, because obviously you can increase your seasoning a little bit, or you might like a little bit of extra cumin or a bit of extra honey, as you wish. Important to taste your food as you go though. That's how you become more of an intuitive cook. Let's taste. Yum. So our wild rice and basmati has cooled down enough. We've got a clove of garlic, crushed or finely chopped. Some red onion, which I love. We're going with lentils today. My other option, which I did previously, is chickpeas, but any tinned beans that you have on hand. Keep the tinned beans in the cupboard. They're great to add into salads like these. You get the protein, the fibre, all those vitamins and minerals in your meals with some tinned beans on hand. Finely chopped celery. Some tomatoes. These ones are quartered, so be gentle when you toss the final dish together. Some currants, which I love, that beautiful sweet pop. And then let's go ahead and throw all of our herbs in. So I've got mint, parsley and coriander going into this one. We'll give it a toss. So there's lots of different colours in this salad, which I absolutely adore. There's the red, the green, the purple, a little bit of a punchy black from those currants. All right, let's get our serving dish. And I'm going to scoop it onto the dish before I get some of the remaining ingredients in the dressing on there too. I don't know about you, but my salads tend to feed an army, and I don't think I'll ever change. I don't think I'll, pare back on my ingredients, because the beauty of a lot of these salads is that whilst they're great on the day you serve them, they're even better the next day. The ingredients just tend to infuse the flavours more. The rice can grab those flavours of the herbs and the garlic. It's just the best way to eat when you've got leftovers next day, in my eyes. Let's get some of the dressing over the top and around the salad. And then I always leave a little pot of the dressing on the side so guests can come along, take a scoop of the salad and serve themselves as they wish with a little extra dressing if they like. And then crumble some lovely soft goat's cheese over it. This is an optional step, but I think it makes it really special. The pomegranates is where I get the most excited. Now, pomegranate are beautiful fruit, but they can be a little bit annoying to get the seeds out of sometimes. So my little hack is to actually head to your Lebanese supermarket or Middle Eastern grocer, whatever you have close to you, and get some frozen pomegranate. And that makes a really easy solution for when you want to have pomegranate anytime and you don't feel like bashing the pomegranate in the sink. And the beautiful juice of this pomegranate not only decorates the salad as it goes, but adds in that beautiful extra antioxidant punch. Some salt and pepper. And not forgetting our pistachios to finish. These are a toasted pistachio. Lovely way to incorporate some nuts is to get them into your salads. If not, aiming for a handful of nuts each day is a really great way to start integrating this superfood into your diet. I don't know about you, but this is a spectacular salad in my eyes. It has a rainbow of ingredients and nutrients, and I'm so sure it's going to impress your guests.